Welcome to Gulfstream Park. It is March 15th, 2015. Christina Basanakis joined by Ron Nicoletti. And Ron, we got a hot one on tab here. And
hot one.
Yeah, it seems like a beautiful day, but it's on the warm side.
Well, it's a beautiful Sunday. Well, it's afternoon right now, 12:06. I hope you all had your Montreal bagels this morning with some coffee. Be a nice day.
We need to find nice, good Montreal bagels down here in southern Florida. You need to let Ron Nicoletti know because we need to get those.
Fast main track, firm turf course. We got some great guarantees, and we even got a carryover today in the Super High Five. But first, the Rainbow Six, which starts in race number 7, $100,000 guaranteed in the jackpot pool. And we also have every Saturday and Sunday, we have a $50,000 guarantee in the pick 5. And the late pick 4 this afternoon, a $100,000 guarantee in that pool. And as I mentioned, the Super High Five today, I think has about $6,000 in it. A little bit, there it is, $6,800, almost $7,000 in the pool this afternoon. So lots of fun. Nice, beautiful day. It's typical South Florida weather. As I mentioned, should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. And actually, I love that last race. I was saying that to Ron a little bit earlier. Always the last race on the card, such competitive races, and throwing into the fact that you also have the Super High Five. It's always a lot of fun. So, before we get into today's 12 race card, we're going to have a look at what happened yesterday. Ron, a lot of fun, another beautiful day, and a couple of stakes, and headed by the Any Limit. And there was a horse in there that I really liked from the Dale Romans barn, and that is Taylor S. We'll have a look back at that race from yesterday. Ron, there seemed to be a lot of speed signed on in this particular race, and Taylor S., she just jumped out. The rail had been playing well, had very, very well, and had been carrying, so really she took advantage of it.
Yes, yeah, I mean, she carved out a 44 and 4.5, and you would think she was going to slow down. That was not the case. She just went on. You see the first, there's the splits right up there. It was a pretty fast race. They came home 109.75, a really nice performance, and congratulations to the Connections. It was that horse busted out of the gate, never looked back.
It'll be interesting to see how the track is playing also today, because especially the first few of the first few races on today's card, not so much speed. So it'll be interesting to see how both the turf and the main track are playing today. But we also had another race, and this was for the boys, and we have the Silks Run, and this is another horse that had been he kicked off his career in Australia and debut. He made his American debut last time. This was his stakes debut yesterday. We'll have a look at the Silks Run. And Ron, this was another impressive performance. And again, these horses coming from Australia and from South America takes them some time to acclimate, but his trainer, Brian Lynch, has done a great job with him.
Yeah, and I really was enamored with the first race he ran here, and that's why, you know, we both had him on top in this race and everything, and he came back and finally proved us right somewhere, which was good. He ran really well, and it was a fun race, and, you know, they were just both two really good races, a lot of nice horses in those two stakes races, and we'll see if we can duplicate that today with our 12-race card. We got some nice maiden races, allowance races mixed in.
Well, let's have a look at today's 12-race card, and we kick off. The first on the card is a 20,000 claiming event, mile and a 16th on the turf course. And Ron, my top selection in here is the number 4, and that is Wonderfully Wild, a 4-year-old daughter of Waffly Wild. And I see it's a horse that you used, but not on top. And I just thought for a trainer, Bobby DeBona. She's going to be showing some speed in here, and she's shown she's run some pretty good numbers in each of her 3 latest races. And Ron, if you look at that last one, that was 35,000 claiming. She's dropping, so I think she's one you probably have to use. Yeah,
she just had that recent spate of second and third place finishes in there. I went another way with the number 7 Harley, wheeling back at the same level in distance, looking to prove on a recent third place finish as the favorite last time out. The trainer is Mark Hennig, and I just thought that'd be a way to go. You did not use the 7 on your ticket. 4-1 on the morning line. Wonderfully Wild for the reason you mentioned. We both did use the 5 Poor Etiquette. Another stuck in second gear. Sort of like Wonderfully Wild. We're facing this level of competition on the turf. Patricia Farrow is the trainer, Jesus Rios. But this daughter, I'll put it back, likes this turf course. 9 races, 2 wins, 3 seconds and a third. So always seems to be in the money on this course.
I think you're right with Hardly, because this morning I was looking at it again. I always say we put these picks in a couple of days before, and sometimes you ruminate over it, and you're thinking, Good numbers, actually. Good numbers on the sheets, and that's on the Third sheets for
But right
number
now
7.
it's all on the horse you have on top from Bobby DeBono.
Let's hope. Let's hope, because I think might be the controlling speed. On to the second race on today's card. It is a 12-5 maiden claiming event. It is a mile on the main track, and this race kicks off the early pick 4. My top selection. Again, we're all over them.
Wow,
I
look
love
at
this.
Yeah, this is
I love
great.
this when this happens with Ron and I. And I went with Mukubahi, and this is a 3-year-old daughter of Iskender. Excuse me, of Iskender Rhea. And with Iskender Rhea, I find his offspring tend to be exactly like him. He tended to be a little bit more of a route horse. They took a little bit longer to develop. She is 3 years old. I think that first start, she was running for 25,000 maiden claiming. I think she's probably going to get better as she goes along. A little bit of a concern. She was scratched last time, March 6th, and that was here at Gulfstream. But I do like her getting to the dirt here. He's very good. His numbers are pretty good with his dirt runners.
I'm laughing at the selections up there.
I know, it's really funny.
We have 6 different horses up there. Number 2, Pam Pam, is the way I went. Dropping to this $12,500 level. Racing without the blinkers this afternoon after breaking from post 11 in the last time. Then went up and tracked the pace setter in their race. Weekend, that was against $25,000 maidens, going 7.5 furlongs on the grass. My favorite angle, so I used it on top of here. Pam Pam. Spiritual Leader in second, shipping it from Tampa, cutting back to a mile. And Street Princess, as you can see by our selections, at least we think the race is wide open.
Oh, I think so for the pick 4. I think you might have to use a few in the second race here to kick off the early pick 4. We look on to the third race. It is at the 40,000 claiming event, a mile on the turf course. And we do have the scratches of the also eligibles. That is the 9 and the 10 main track only entrance. And Ron, my top selection here, at least we're in agreement, and that is number 7. That is Brown's Gap, trained by Safi Joseph Jr. And here's another one, Ron. I think that this colt, he's going to be showing speed. He hasn't run since January 28th. He does have a recent work on the work tab. I think, again, I do think this race is actually pretty wide open, considering even though we have chosen the same horses. But I do think speed might be the key here.
Yeah, and I mean, Brown's Gap is the logical choice. And the horse that you used in third, I used in second, was the 6 Golden River. And this one moved to the Mike Pino Bond of Either Claim. Steps up the competition today. He stalked the early pace last time out, which I think he's going to do again. He gets the lead in that race, then holds on to defeat $20,000 2 lifetime claimers here. That was on January 24th. Mike Pino, the trainer, is 25% with new claims. I like that performance last time out. See if he can duplicate it, or at least be on the board today. And I close it out with the 4 Curve of Stones.
I actually liked it, number 1, Hobbs, in there from the Kathy Mungeon barn, and he's a trooper, this horse. He ran a good number in his latest race on February 6th, and again, he's dropping a little bit, and I think if everything's on go today, I think he's going to run a good one.
We were talking about this horse yesterday, and I was sort of sad that I left it off my ticket and everything. I didn't know really quite what to do, so Hobbs certainly has enough class to fit, to win this in this spot for sure.
We look on to the 4th race on today's card, a 62.50 claiming event, 1 mile on the main track, and we do have a scratch of number 3, Mr. Sutton. And my top pick, I went with number 6, Rich Daddy, and there's a 4-year-old gelding by the daddy, dropping Ron. We 20,000 claiming company last time. We actually ran a pretty good race, good number in the third graph sheets. In fact, in his last 3 races at the 20,000 level. So sometimes, to me, this might be a little bit. It might be a red flag. It also just might be the barn is just being very aggressive. But dropping, and then the daddy's very good with his runners on the dirt, 16%.
We've been liking this trainer here, William Moreno. So he's been doing some really good work, and we're always paying attention to him. And that was one of the reasons too that maybe put this horse on top of the ticket. You mentioned plunging today, so that's always a concern. Shorten up to a 1-turn mile after a trio of third place finishes against $20,000 types on the grass. I just like what this guy's been doing, the trainer William Moreno, so I put him on top of the ticket. And we both have the 8 Copa del Rey in second, and this is the first time we're in total agreement here with the number 4 Tritonian, who I added with the scratch number 3 Mr. Sutton.
I'm hoping the Rich Daddy's going to be pretty close up, and maybe Copa del Rey might be showing speed. He looks like he will probably be showing speed in there, but that's a pretty. I thought that race, we got to go with that connection. And as you said, we've been watching William Moreno's been doing very well here. We look on to the 5th race on the card. It is a maiden special weight, 7 furlongs on the main track, and there is a scratch of number 1, and that is Wonder Brew. And my top pick, And Ron, it seems like we're kind of in agreement, just we have them mixed up a little bit. I went with number 9, and that's a Munasara. This is a 3-year-old daughter, a Bernardini, the mare La Houdoud, nice mare, winner, and she won the Breeders' Cup. Nice works, actually, coming into several nice works, including the latest on March 8th at Palm Meadows for Kieran McLaughlin. Kieran certainly knows how to get them to win first time out. Bernardini's not usually a sire that I jump to for my first-time starters and to win first out. Although the fact that it's at 7 furlongs, getting a little bit of distance, Bernardini, his horses like a rat of ground.
And Kieran McLaughlin just having a great meeting. He had a really nice winner yesterday. I like this race. Let me say that first.
Yeah.
This is a really nice race. I did go with the number 5 horse in the Sudastada. This one making her sophomore debut with Lasix added. After showing promise, she ran pretty good in her 1-mile career debut. Was right here, is back on December 28th. Trainer Tom Albertrani woke up in a big way last week. He has this daughter of Streetcar working really beautifully at Palm Meadows in preparation for the return. The number 9 Munasara, like for you, all the reasons you mentioned, and we both have the number 3 Sierra Squall. Pretty nice breeding on this horse.
Yeah, they're nice breeding on several of these horses. Sierra Squall, she's related to A Priority, Bahamian Squall, Squall City, all stakes winners, and so very nice horses and very deep family. And there's a question. There's another question: the speed. Where's the speed going to come from?
Yeah, I mean it's so hard to really judge that right on. With this a lot of first-time starters and going 7/8 of a mile. But as Christina mentioned at the top of the show, watch these early races. If the track is playing like it did yesterday, you're going to really have to pay attention who you think might be the speed in these particular races on the main track. But every day, the track, the way it's playing can change.
It sure can. We look on to the 6th race on the card, and is a 60,000 maiden claimer, 7 furlongs on the main track. And my top selection in here, I went with the number 5. And Ron, here's another race that we're a little bit all over the place. I did go with number 5, and that's Stark Raven Ready. This is a 3-year-old colt by More Than Ready. He's got a pretty decent percentage. First-time starters, he's about 12%. Steady works for Kirk Zadie. So several things that Kirk Zadie, he's almost at 40% with his first-time starter. So it's a barn that you can't really neglect. Although I see that you went in another direction. You went with number 6, and that's Brett Park from the Buff Bradley barn. Yeah, Buff Bradley barn. And these are one of the type of races when you're a handicapper, even when you're handicapping Homer like we do, you look at this race, you look at it and say, I'm going to put it down. I'm going to go back to this one a little later on because it's a full field of 14 runners, and this one was for me, one tough race to handicap, and I did settle on number 6, Brett Park, stretching out an additional furlong today after rallying to finish second in consecutive starts against very similar opposition, going 3/4 of a mile. I think the other distance, extra furlongs really going to help. I went with the 10 Blackwater Charlie in second, and the number 13 Complacent. And once again, you can see the only one we're in agreement in is the number 6 in there, and that's Brett Park. And I think just because the reason I didn't go with Brett Park on top has several 4 second-place efforts out of 7 career starts, maybe to me it reads a little bit of, that horse, that type of, maybe developing to that horse that doesn't really want to win. So I took a chance with some first-time starters. I threw in number 9, Hummed, and this is a 3-year-old colt by Distorted Humor. Ralph Nix trains this one, and also Distorted Humor very good with his first-time starters. He's about 17%. Nice stakes-winning mare as well. So nice pedigree, nice works. Number 9, Hummed. I think that's one of them that you got to use. And Ron, we're going to take a short break, and we will come back and have a look at the 7th race on the card that kicks off the 20-cent Rainbow Six.
Gulfstream Park is one of Florida's top entertainment destinations, mixing restaurants, clubs, a casino, and international boutique shops with world-class racing. In a lavish, sun-drenched setting with the feel of a Mediterranean village, Gulfstream is a leading year-round entertainment and tourist destination and the home of luxury residences in 2014. The Stronach family, owners of Gulfstream Park, is committed to the sport of thoroughbred racing and the grace, spirit, and generosity of the horse.
The Rainbow Six is back and it's better than ever. Now with a 20-cent base wager, it will expand the market for the popular bet. And in addition to doubling the base wager, the percentage return for the winners on the day the jackpot isn't hit increases to 70%, with 30% going to the carryover pool for the next program. Gulfstream Park, you got to be here each and every day.
Welcome back to Gulfstream Park. We're going to have a look at today's 7th race that kicks off the 20-cent Rainbow Six. There's a guarantee.
$100,000 guarantee, and I'm guaranteeing it's going to be over that today. It was over yesterday, so I'm going to see how we do today in here. And number 7, as you know, we're scratching out of here, and that is Wild Magic, and this one 1 mile and 1/8. And I did go in with the number 4 in here, and that is Private Relations. And the Private Relations today, stretching out to 1 mile and 8 after rallying to finish well-meant second. His recent outing against Similar, going 1 mile and 16. He's the son of Warfront. I don't think he's going to have any problem negotiating the distance. I like this horse today.
Numbers-wise, he's going to be the one to beat. I did go with another horse that I think that really fits in here. That is the number 3, Whitman's Poetry. And third last time, Ron didn't get to the off to the, or got off to an easier start, I should say. Didn't get off to the best of starts or early in the game. Had some issues, but ran a pretty big number, and that was back on January 23rd. Nice little pedigree, too. I have to a nice little stakes horse named Lickety Lemon. So everything considered, which is a turf horse, and so everything considered, I really like. I like this one because he made progress in both of his starts. Came back off a long layoff to run a good race.
Put my check in. I'm going with my kitten horse in here in second. And that's Reach for Kitten now in the Mike Maker barn. This is the son of Kitten's Joy. Makes his first start since showing you ability on the turf here. But that was more than 15 months ago. But what I like about this Ken and Sarah Ramsey homebred, been training lights out for his 4-year-old debut. If you look at his workout pattern and, you know, good connections, I just think I got to have this horse somewhere on my ticket, especially in the Rainbow 6. He's third choice in the morning line, a type of horse that I would be really upset if I got knocked out and didn't have this type of Kitten's Joy horse on my ticket.
I threw in number 12, and that's Thatcher Street, trained by Ian Wilkes. And this is a son of Street Sense. Street Sense, he's good. He's pretty good with his turf runners. And this one ran a couple of nice races, big races back at Churchill Downs, and that was last fall. I'm hoping he can get back to that. If he can get back to that run, they're all running for second. But I thought that, you know, in his last 2 races, he hasn't really reflected that. He's got to get back on track. So maybe the turf is going to wake him up and turn him around, and we'll have him in there at a little bit of a price, 10-1 on the morning line. We look on to the 8th race on the card, and it is an allowance optional claiming event with a claiming tag of $25,000, 7 furlongs on the main track. We do have a scratch, number 2, LARP.
I knew she was going to do that.
Yeah. And this kicks off the pick 5. And my top pick in here, I went with the number 5, and that is Indian Brute. And this is a 4-year-old son of Indian Charlie, and it looks like speed is his game, Ron. Last time he was just beaten a length that was over this track, this distance. I think he's in a good shape for Barclay Tag. I'm just hoping that he can just bump it up to the next level.
I got him on a ticket, but I want to go back and show you the race of High Kodiak Warrior, who I did put on my ticket last time out, and he just had a little bit of trouble in this race. You'll see him coming down here, and he is the number 6 in this race. I just thought he got a little bopped around there. You see, well, more than a little bopped around. He got got a little mugged at the 8th pole in that race, and he comes on and he finishes straight. You know, he's going down and he runs to be a decent second in the race, and I just thought off that performance, I would put him on top. The trainer's Gustavo Delgado. He's got Paco Lopez in the saddle. 5 Indian Brute for all the reasons you mentioned, his son of Indian Charlie. And then we both went to the Inside Horse Dance Champion, making his first start since he returned from a really extended layoff to finish third, going 1 mile and 16th. He did that here on New Year's Day. So he came back. Now he's been off again. Trainer Christophe Clement, this is the latest return to action. So a little bit of that red flag flying.
The Dance Champion, actually, I kind of like in here. And I'm thinking also John Velasquez, who's flying back from Saudi Arabia. You were telling the good folks yesterday, they went to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, guys went to Saudi Arabia. I don't know if John went to Saudi Arabia. Did he go to Oakland?
Oh, he went to Oakland.
Okay. The other
Saudi
guys went
Arabia on this continent.
He was delayed. They were going to see if he was going to make it to the first race, but our track announcer Larry Comas will be on after us, and he will update you on all the information about who's in town and if there is any TBAs.
Yeah, TBAs, and that was Javier Castellano.
And Jose Lescano and Edgar Prado went to Saudi Arabia. Imagine they were in Saudi Arabia yesterday, and they might ride today. That's fantastic.
I love it. I love it. Frequent flyer miles for sure. We look on to the 9th race on the card, and we do have a allowance optional claiming event. $35,000 is the claiming price. 1 mile and 1/8 on the turf course, and we do have a scratch. Number 3, Seeking Her Glory. Ron, late pick 4. kicks off in here, there's also a guarantee.
Yeah, $100,000, and every Saturday and Sunday at the championship meeting, we got this $100,000. Just gives some people, some incentive. Not that you need it. It's always up well over $100,000, and a pretty nice race to do it with. And we both have the number 2 Fashion Fund on top.
Yeah, let's take a look at Fashion Fund's last race. That was at Keeneland in the Grade 3 Valley View. And Ron, what I think is interesting, look from where Fashion Fund's coming, well behind early. That turn, I don't know if you could be any wider on that.
Yeah, he's about 9 wide coming into the stretch there, and Grade 3 company, and he runs pretty well. He goes on and everything like that, but he ran probably, an additional furlong in that race.
She sure did, yeah.
She sure did, so she's running good, and she's a logical choice in here. Shug McGay's the trainer, has been having a fantastic meeting, so there you see Fashion Fund closing. Pretty nice performance, as I mentioned, Grade 3 company.
My only concern is that with Seeking Her Glory scratching, which was maybe going to be showing speed, there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of speed. So this filly, she comes from way out of it, so I'm hoping that she's not going to be so too far out of it that she basically she has too much to do late. We look on to the 10th race on today's card, and it is a maiden special weight 9 furlongs on the turf course, scratch of the 12 and the 13. My top choice, I went with number 8, and that is Pure of Spirit, Barclay Tagg. A couple of, actually 3 consecutive second-place efforts in her latest races. So, Ron, that's always a little bit disconcerting. Let's just take a look at Pure of Spirit's latest race. And she had some issues in the late going on that January 23rd effort, and I thought it was a pretty good race for her, though.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I will put her on my ticket. We'll trigger that as it comes up, and you can see how she runs. And that's her right there. She's the number 7 in this race, and she ran a really good race. I did put her on the ticket, but did go. It's Trophy on top, 2 horses I'll talk about in a minute.
Trophy.
Trophy. Excuse me. The trophy there, you see.
This is Pure of Spirit
running really nice. Second in there. Trophy, the number 2, is making a 4-year-old debut. The first start since she finished second between a pair of next out winners. It was on a yielding course. It was at Aqueduct. It was back in November. Key race. Christophe Clement. John Velasquez, when he's back, will be riding this daughter of Mr. Stanley, Pure of Spirit, for all the reasons you mentioned, and the number 1 Guilty Verdict in third. Shug McGay, tough to leave him off any ticket.
I know, certainly with these type of races as well. We look on to the 11th race on today's card, and it is an allowance optional claiming event. $62,500 is the claiming price. 6 furlongs on the main track, and we have a scratch of the number 3. Ron, my top pick, your top pick, number 9, and that is Rockfall. I do think that this 4-year-old colt by Speightstown, I think he's the class of the field. Forgettable career debut at Gulfstream last April. Came back in May. He won really, really big at Belmont, and he made it 2 straight back in June. And he looks like he had plenty of time off, but he's getting back on track. And again, Todd does a really good job with these horses coming back on playoffs.
Yeah, and he was very professional and impressive when he ended his campaign. That's Rockfall coming back to them. Really interested to see him. I got 4 Pomeroy's package in second. You got him in third, and then we both used the number 1 Puntarooski, turning back slightly today.
Yeah, Puntarooski needs a little bit of speed, but it looks like he's going to get it in this race because it seems that there seems to be a good amount of speed signed on. We look on to the 12th and final race on today's card this afternoon. It is a maiden special weight, 1 mile and 1/16 on the turf course. And Ron, another big full field for the final race. I always love this.
Super high five.
I love it. I love it. And my top selection, I went with the number 11, and that's Love's Illusion. And this one, Ron, I think she finished second behind a nice horse named Mrs. McDougal. Mrs. McDougal came back, and she ran a pretty credible, I think it was third yesterday in a race that maybe post position didn't really set up for her. But in any case, I think that this filly's going to be close up. This daughter of Tappet, she's going to be hopefully showing some speed, and her numbers fit. She bumped up her game significantly on the grass. I hope she does it again.
Yeah, let's show you a background to show you the horse I put on top real quick. Head on of Dinah's Recolada. That's who I got on top. Gets in some trouble at the gate. Here's your number 7. You'll see her there. Gets really bopped around and gets knocked back to last. You'll see she's running last in there. And I just thought she was also in tight quarters at the 8th pole. a little later on in the race as you see it running around when they switch around. And I just thought he ran pretty well in there. Tisabella in second, Casco Passage in third. And I'm going to go back and look at your number 11 in there.
Yeah, and I actually threw in number 5, and that's 10 Cook in here from with Mark Cassie. And also I missed the Mark Cassie horse yesterday in the last. He had that, what was it, 8-1, 7-8-1 Mark Cassie.
I've been teasing her about it all night.
With a big pedigree. I missed it, and Ron had it on, had her on his ticket, and that's disappointing. But this time, I have Mark Cassie on my ticket in the final race on today's card. And that's it for today's 12-race card. Ron, just give us a quick rundown of the guarantees today.
$100,000 in the Rainbow 6, $50,000 in the Pick 5, $100,000 in the late Pick 4.
Folks, that's it for Ron and I. We will be back the rest of the afternoon, but please stick around. We've got a good one on tap.
Point of entry would not be denied. And they're into the stretch. Point of entry's taking the lead.
Point of entry, a 2-length lead.
It's Point of Entry taking the lead. Point of Entry will go to the Breeders' Cup on a 5-race winning streak.
5-time Grade 1 winner from a deep Phipps family, with the pedigree and physical to become the heir of Dinah Former. Point of Entry, standing at Adena Springs.
We are counting down toward post time for the opener as 12 races is set to come your way here in South Florida. It's a warm afternoon at beautiful Gulfstream Park. Hello everybody, I'm track announcer Larry Colmus. Welcome to Gulfstream Park. Welcome to all of you watching our races today. 12 races set to come your way this afternoon with a growing guarantee in the Rainbow 6, up to a $100,000 guarantee today. Let's take a look at the conditions and the changes for Sunday's card. We are fast and firm today. Temperatures in the mid-80s, sunny skies with a light southeast breeze at 6 miles per hour. Here are the changes for today's 12-race card. In the first race today, there are no program changes. No changes in the second race as well. On to race 3. In the third race, scratch 9, Kings Over, and 10, Sevi. 9 and 10 are out of today's third. On to the fourth. Race 4, scratch 3, Mr. Sutton. Number 3 is out. And overweight in the race, number 7, JC Universal, 2 pounds over in race 4. In today's fifth race, scratch number 1, Wonder Brew. Number 1, Wonder Brew is out of race 5. Race 6 today, just an overweight. Number 4, Full Boat, 3 pounds over. Seventh race kicks off the Rainbow 6, $100,000 guaranteed pool. Scratch the 7, Wild Magic. Number 7 is out of race 7. 8th race starts the pick 5 with a $50,000 guaranteed pool. Scratch number 2, Blarp. Number 2 is out of race 8. In the 9th race, start of the pick 4. Scratch 3, Seeking Her Glory. Number 3 is out of race 9. In the 10th race, scratch 12, Coronet, and 13, Rachel's Temper. 12 and 13 out of race number 10. In the 11th race today, scratch 3, Saucy Don. Number 3 scratched from race 11. And we wrap it up in the 12th race, or Super High 5 race. No changes in the 12th. The Rainbow 6 on races 7 through 12 today, a $100,000 guaranteed pool. The pick 5 beginning in race 8 has a $50,000 guaranteed pool. And the late pick 4 starting in race 9, a $100,000 guaranteed pool. And the Super High 5 on the last race, pick the first 5 finishers in order. There's a carryover there of $6,824. And don't forget, we're back at it on Tuesday with a special holiday card on St. Patrick's Day. Live racing this coming Tuesday, St. Patrick's Day at 1 o'clock. Temperatures up into the middle 80s, sunny skies, fast and firm conditions for a 12-race Sunday card. Best of luck today here at Gulfstream Park.